Welcome to today's program. Today we are going to have a conversation with one of Canada's top photographers, John Ratchford. John, who is a member of PPOC, PPA, WPPI, as well as the European counterpart. John, those titles or those letters stand for something. They stand for what?
Well, PPOC is the Professional Photographers of Canada. PPA is the Professional Photographers of America. WPPI is the Wedding and Portrait Photographers International. And the European one, SWWP, I don't know what that stands for. I just recently became a member. They're asking me to speak at their convention this coming January. So part of the deal is you get membership and convention with it. But I don't know what it stands for.
Okay. Now, John, you've recently had a trip to Las Vegas. And you've won some awards from that.
Well, I won one award from that. When I thought it was for my group portrait. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure what category. It says Best Metallic Print.
Okay.
And maybe that had to do with the glossy finish that we use. But I don't even know which picture, which is kind of unique.
Okay.
And the night of the banquet in Las Vegas, I was actually there at the convention, but I never expected to win anything. So I didn't bother going to the banquet. I went to the Blue Man Group instead. And this thing came in the mail, so it was a nice surprise.
Nice surprise. In terms of your career, I know you've had other awards in the past. You have a couple of your portraits that were on or in the Loan Collection of Canada, which is a big deal. You've won awards locally, within Canada, and in the U.S. So what's next for you? What would be a dream?
I would love to be Photographer of the Year. I've won like all these other awards that lead up to that, but the big one is really the Photographer of the Year.
Yeah.
And although I've been close a couple of times, it's always eluded me, so that would be the big one, and to win it in Canada.
Right here at home.
Yeah, that would be, I know I enter in the U.S. and all that, but it's more personal here among your colleagues that you know for many years, and that's the big one I would like to win.
Now, in terms of colleagues, who are they? Men? Are they women? Are they young? Are they old? Or is it all veterans?
All ages, really. The guy that won Photographer of the Year last year was he was a French fella. I'm sure he was in his 50s. He could have even been 60. He's been around a long time. Other years, it's been young people that have won it. It's been both male. It's been female. It's all around the place. That's what's so great. Some of these photographers come on the scene, and within a year or two, they're at the top. Other ones have worked many years to get there. So it's both rewarding both ways. If I ever won, I've been at it 15 years now. I've been competing since '99. Like, I'll know it's not a fluke, and I'll feel that I worked hard for this, and this was a goal I set out to do, and it didn't come easy. I had to work hard for it. I'm sure it'll be satisfying. If and when.
What determines it? What makes a person receive Photographer of the Year?
In Canada, and I think it's the same in the United States for Professional Photographers in America, you enter 4 images. You can only enter 4. They have to be of different categories. Within, like, I'm a portrait photographer. There's also commercial photographers. But of those 4 that are judged, you have to have 4, first of all, that are accepted in the show. You could have 3 prints scoring excellent and 1 not get in the show, and you're out.
Your chance is gone.
You have to have the 4 in.
Okay.
And I've seen some years where photographers have had 3 excellent prints and 1 not hang. They call it hang in the print show. And another photographer just have 4 accepted ones, which is at the very bottom of that. And you could win Photographer of the Year with that.
Okay.
So you have to have the 4 images in, and of course they have to be high scoring, and there has to be a lot of variety. And so it's not easy to do. It's
Who
not
does
easy
the
to
judging?
even get 4 hanging. Judging is done by accredited judges who were photographers themselves, who have taken, it's a couple of courses that you have to take, and you have to be a master of photographic arts. I can judge on a provincial level.
Okay.
I have my craftsman of photographic arts, but the highest level is the masters, and any of those people with the proper accreditations can judge. And it's a panel of, I think it's 6, and at least 4 have to take part. So if a print comes up that you happen to know the maker, then you opt out. You just back off.
Okay, so that you kind of unbiased, I guess.
Yeah, these images, you're sitting in a dark room for many hours, and all the lights are off, and you have adjudicator, which will announce, the next print, is number 131. She's gone, and then the print will flip up.
And they'll get to judge.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you have anywhere. There's sometimes there's discussion, and sometimes you're sitting there watching. You can't say anything, and you get snuffed out just like that.
Just like that.
And you have to eat it. That's the way it is.
Well, now you mentioned master. Right now you're a craftsman of photographic arts. The next step up from there would be a master craftsman. So where are you in that? Is that something that you're reaching towards?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I probably have all the points now.
Okay.
And would receive it next year. A convention, I can't remember where it's at next year, but it's in a different city Regina.
Okay.
And I'll probably receive it there.
Okay.
It's a combination of print points over the years, which have scored high enough. And I've had that for years, but it's the service points.
Okay.
That you obtain by working on committees, by helping out at conventions. There's another number of ways you can do it. By taking students. We've taken in a lot of students this year, and I know that's going to put me over the top with my service points.
Okay.
So I just have to submit them, and I'm sure I'll be in.
Okay. When now you say take students, what do they I guess what benefit for the student is there?
I think the student has a great benefit so long as the studio that takes them doesn't have them clean out the storage room or doing menial tasks. But if you get them right involved, and this is how a studio day-to-day operates, everything from being in the studio to doing the computer work afterwards to filing, there's a lot to running a big busy studio, and I think any students that we get, I think, have a great benefit of seeing this is how a business is run, and I think it'll separate the men from the boys and the women from the girls, because it's hard. It's a lot of work.
After the break, we'll ask John what benefit you receive from taking in students besides the service points, and we'll find out a little bit more about that after this break. Welcome back. We're here with John Ratchford, a photographer, and having a conversation about getting to know John, I guess. John, before the break, we were talking about what a student might bring to the studio, or what they would learn. What benefit for you? What do you get from having the students?
Huge benefit, Lorena. These kids that are coming out of school, they're often young, they're fresh, their ideas are fresh. It's easy as you get older in your profession to get stale or to do things a certain way because they've always worked that way. But these kids come in with raw ideas, and to tell you the truth, I've learned more from some of these young people than I have from some of the old pros that I've gone to pay money to see in Las Vegas or somewhere in the United States. So I get huge benefits out of it. It keeps me on the edge.
Now I think of the students coming into the studio as they're eager, they're just starting their career, they're learning.
Absolutely.
Now you're in your career, and to a lot of the students, you're living to what they dream of being, having your own studio, setting your own hours, doing the things, traveling. So now we think you're living your dreams, or they would. Now what is really going on? Are you living your dreams?
Oh, I think I've, in many ways, gone beyond what I thought I would ever do with my work and my career. And it was only in the last few years I realized, this can really take you higher than you ever thought, and it can open a lot of doors for other things. And living the dream, to me it's an ongoing thing. It's unfolding.
Do you have other dreams, besides what we think? Do you have other things that, I'd really love to?
Crazy things, like dressing up as Spider-Man.
We all have crazy things.
I got this costume. I was looking on eBay for my girlfriend's little fella for Christmas gift, and lo and behold, I was looking for costumes, and I don't find one for him, but I find one for me. This great costume that this guy in the United States made, and I thought, why not? I'm 40 years old. I don't drink. I got to do something.
You always wanted to be Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, since I was a little kid, I've been hanging upside down in trees and swinging around, and even if I watched the Spider-Man movie before I fell asleep, I would dream that I was him. These great dreams. They should roll credits in the morning at the end of my sleeps anyway. I dream so out loud. But anyway, I got this costume, and there's never a reason to put a Spider-Man costume on.
No.
You have
Oh,
to
you have
make
to
them,
invent them. Yes,
invent
that's
them,
right.
And if you go to a place like Las Vegas, or I'm going to New York next month, definitely.
You can be Spider-Man.
Sure, people expect freaks down there, and you're just part of the
Photographer,
show.
it all fits.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And so, you know, crazy things like that, yeah, I'm living my dream that way.
Now that would probably be something. You have clients that come into the studio. They're there for an hour and a half. You would get to know those clients easily over that time.
Sure.
How much of you do you let the clients get to know?
Well, many times too much. I'm a pretty open person, and there's not too much that's off limits with me. And if I think of my sharing something is going to make someone feel a lot more regular or more human, or especially the young people that come in that might be intimidated by the whole process, like there's not too much that I would feel I need to hide.
That you do.
Yeah. So.
Because you have pet peeves and you have little quirks and things like that, like the rest of us. You know, give us an example. Give us an example of something.
I read
us regular.
I read in Time magazine lately about allergies.
Okay.
And they were saying that people that can't stand noises, that it's an allergy. And I thought, that's great. That gives it a name for me, because I have all kinds of...
You have a noise allergy.
There's all kinds of noises that assault me on a daily basis that I can't control, you know. And people, plastic wrappers.
Plastic wrappers.
Yeah. Like
So you're on a plane and they only pass out
and nobody knows
nuts
how to open them.
in the little plastic
Why don't they
wrapper.
just give them to me first? I can, because there's a little tear thing you can open them with.
So instead of enjoying the flight, you need to be the host that could go around
To control things.
to control things.
Control freak, I guess.
John,
That's part of the artistic side.
and they say that
Sure
do
it is,
that
yeah.
you have an
I
excuse
have a great
for
excuse
everything.
for it, yeah.
Exactly, doesn't matter what happens in life. You can say that's the artistic side.
Right.
What's left to come for you as far as learning? Is there a point where you'd like to be at where you would feel, or is there ever an end? I guess
I don't know if there's ever an end. Lately, I've been experimenting with multiple flashes outdoors. And I've been looking at, instead of looking at other photographers' work, which I often did to inspire me, I've been looking at more of the magazine, the fashion shooters, Vanity Fair, and looking at some of the work they do outdoors. And then they have crews that light these scenes outdoors. But I've been experimenting with ways, well, how can I maybe scale it down, but do that same kind of beautiful imagery that they do, and present that in the way that they do. So.
And which made me think a rangefinder. You're getting the cover of Rangefinder magazine, where one of your images will be featured. And this is, what type of publication would Rangefinder be?
Rangefinder for professional photographers. It's exclusive to, like, it's not something you'll find in magazine stands.
No.
But it's the largest publication in the world.
So that's a wonderful...
It's a good thing we're recording this, because then I'll know, well, hey, it actually happened. I have it recorded.
Yes, that's right. That's
I still find that hard to believe.
It's hard to believe.
Very humbling to be featured on the front cover.
Now, through that, through your work there, you also made a contact where you were asked to have your work featured in, I guess it would be a how-to for professional photographers in that book. So he just liked your work when he saw it in Rangefinder magazine and said, I would like this guy to have an input on the book that I'm doing.
Everybody must have said no. No, I'm just kidding.
Not true. Not
no,
true.
I was very, like I say, on a daily basis, I'm very grateful that really God has given me this gift to, and when I'm asked to speak at different seminars and that like I share with people, I don't know how this all happened. I don't know how it's hard for me to translate what I learned when it's something it was just inside you.
Yeah.
Like I never took any formal training, I never had any courses. Just when I was a kid, 12, 13 years old, messing around with a camera, doing pictures of horses and selling them, and I never intended to do it for a living. It was just one of those things that found me.
I found you. And it's found a lot of opportunities. It's almost like it's growing arms and legs and spreading out into different directions.
Yeah.
What if, and again, and we could even spend a whole show talking about business on the island and what that's like, but what would be some of your highlights to your career here in Cape Breton, or, and just your career in general?
I think to me the most personal and the highlight too is what's going on now with Shauna McLean. There's a girl from New Waterford who contacted me. She had lost her breasts to breast cancer, and somewhere inside of her had this idea that this should be documented. Had no idea what we were going to do with it, So I went to her chemo treatments. I photographed some pretty shocking images of her scars, holding her prosthetic breasts, and a very moving, you know, experience, and just to get to know her. And these images are, I think, can take down a lot of veils, a lot of barriers with people. And the Cape Breton, the hospital foundation, the cancer center in Sydney, is using her for her fundraiser, their fundraiser. And her openness and her willingness to do this has opened a lot of doors for people to set down some fears and to, you know, be part of the fundraising. And who knows where else it's going to go.
Yeah.
So to be involved in that, for her to, as a woman, to respect a man and trust a man enough, because I did say to her, I said, of all the female photographers around, why did you choose me? So it was just a very, I thank God for that, because that's something where you can take your giftedness and move it outside of, you know,
day-to-day business.
Yeah, and be a part of a bigger picture. And there's lots of years left to, who knows where things could go like that. One door opens to another, to another, to another.
But that would be a beautiful highlight to say that, you know, that's one of the best things.
Yeah, it's fun winning all the awards, and it's fun being part of the magazine. It certainly excites me. But outside of that, this is a big deal.
So maybe, John, after the break, we'll talk about one of your most interesting memories as far as your career goes. And right after this. Thank you.
Great.
Welcome back. John, before the break, we were talking about some of the best highlights, or one in particular. And we could certainly talk about a few more of your really great highlights. What would you describe as some of maybe your more interesting highlights? And maybe at the time they may have been your worst, or certainly as a business owner, what would you have to offer in that area?
Well, there's one day that stands out to me. In the early years, I should have had like a tax privilege as a nonprofit organization, because, you know, we just did terrible for years. One of the things I regret not doing is joining the professional associations and learning the day-to-day runnings of a business. And like every convention I went to, even though I started late, I started in almost 2000, I was already open 5 years.
Okay.
I would bring home literally thousands of dollars in ideas. But in the early years, I justified, well, I can't afford to do this, you know, and in a way I was right, but you can't afford not to learn.
Okay.
So in those early years, things were rough. And I remember one day in particular, I was turning 30. I was supposed to get married that summer. It didn't work out. It was a rotten summer anyway. And I was walking into the office. I was probably late, you know, because I was sleeping in. I wasn't getting up in time for work. I was kind of in a depression. And there was this sign on my door, and there's a client there waiting for me. And the sign's from Nova Scotia Power. It's pay the bill tomorrow or lights out. You got 24 hours to do it, which was embarrassing. You know, your client's right there. So we get inside, and we do the shoot, and she wants to call her husband to come and get her and pick up the phone. Dead. Phone's cut off.
Goodness.
Like, what are the chances of the same day? And but people could call in, you just couldn't call out.
That's a great way to run a business.
Well, that's the way they did it in those days. You know, when you couldn't pay your bill, that's how they would start weaning you off. Anyway, so that was embarrassing in itself, and then she's gone. Then I get a phone call. It's my landlord, 6 months behind on rent.
Wow.
And I don't know if it got past him somehow, but he didn't realize, and all this time went by, and he told me, look, Friday, I want my money. He said, he meant business.
Yeah.
And sure, he had every right to say that.
Well, yes.
And I thought, how am I going to get out of this? And I dug down, and I remember a priest, you know, I didn't mention this before, but I was going to be a priest at one time, so I was living in a religious community. And when I had left, one of the priests I was very close to said, look, if you ever need any help, let me know. Anyway, that just kind of started to get louder in my head, and so I had to call him, and he lent me all that money to fix things up immediately for me.
Wow.
And he had that money in the bank. He said if he needed a car, he had money there, so he gave me that. And his car was 18 years old at the time, and he gave me that money.
Wow.
Yeah, and I paid him back, and I always paid anytime I borrowed from him, because that was only the first business. But I always gave him back 10%.
Wow.
Because he could be earning interest on it,
Yes.
and I wanted to be able to go back, you know.
Yeah. in case it was rough again.
So if I needed a loan again, I would call and say, hey, I got an investment for you, instead of, can I borrow money, because they got the 10%, right?
Isn't that amazing?
So they were good to me. They helped me get through those hard years. And
Probably in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Encouraging.
And my family too,
Yes.
of course. But there was times where I couldn't go to my family, and they were, because maybe I already strapped them out. I don't know. I can't remember now. There was a lot of history there of borrowing money from this group of priests.
So a rough start.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think it would grow to what it is today?
Not really, no.
No?
And to tell you the truth, I didn't have any success until I let go of the fear of failing.
Wow. Okay.
When I finally, I think it was 97, I was on my way somewhere, and I had this pain in my chest. I had to go to the hospital. I'm going to take a heart attack. I was only 30-some years old. And the doctor took me aside. He said, look, you had a panic attack. And I thought, oh, great. I had friends that had these. I thought they were crazy. Now, here I am doing it. And he said, what's going on in your life? And I said, I'm just really stressed over business. I'm in the hole. It's not going well. And he said, well, you gotta take a break. You gotta change careers or something. And I thought maybe he's right. And I went to see another friend after that, and they said the same thing. Why don't you do something else, Johnny? They said, this is not working out. And how could I argue?
Yeah.
And I went home and feeling pretty down and thought, well, maybe this is it. That's not what I'm going to do. I had no idea what I'd do if I wasn't doing this. And not that I believe in cutting the Bible and just reading whatever's there. I don't often do that. But I did that night out of desperation. And there was this scripture about St. Paul in the Corinthians, maybe, about being cornered and knocked down but never surrendering. And, you know, he has Christ on his side. And it just rang. I felt like God himself was telling me not to.
This is the answer.
Yeah, and something changed in me that night. I stopped worrying about failing. And I thought, I'm going to just see this through, whether the sheriff closes me down or I succeed one way or the other. I'm not going to worry about it anymore.
To an end.
And when I let go of that fear of failing, I was able to take some risks that I would never have taken before and some business chances. And when I started doing that, things started to turn around, and have turned around ever since. Not every decision I make is great, and some things I bomb on, but more often than not, the decisions I made have been good ones. But I think it was because of that time, that night, of not worrying about failing.
And taking a chance.
Yeah.
Certainly what a lot of people would look to as far as the business community, they know it's a starving artist that you hear of, and that's the way you started, as a starving artist. But now, very successfully, you're moving on.
Yeah.
A lot of good things in store for you and your company.
Yeah, for the people that work for me, I think.
Everything.
Hopefully too, yeah.
Yeah, well, and a lot that will happen with this island because of it, and a lot of good things. Thank you very much, John, for coming in to speak with us, having this conversation, and we really enjoyed it. And until the next time, thank you very much. I'm Lorena Capstick, your host of In Conversation With, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.